What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called Customer Was Cool, Assistant Manager Tried to Fire Me. So this is a really old one, like 20 years. But there was a police report filed, so maybe still interesting. This is a long one. Around 20 years back, I worked in hardware support for a corporation. Desktop and server support, physical network installs, heck, I even did phone system punchdowns. This matters. I'm on my way home when I decide to swing by my local electronics and media store for a DVD set that had just come out. It had a cool figurine with it. Unfortunately, my favorite color is blue, and I had on a blue blouse. I had on slacks with my name tag and keycard flipped into my front pocket and a wee wallet stuck in there. Went in, grabbed my box set, and I am heading towards checkout when an older man asks if we have this network cable in longer lengths. His cart is just filled with different lengths of cable. His son and him were setting up a local area network. I told them I didn't work there, and then I added in that if they wanted to save some bucks, they could make the cables themselves, and went into a spiel about how to do it and what to get. He was super excited. Cool. I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around to see some guy with a button-up and a manager's tag on. He was smiling and polite and asked me to come with him. Said he needed to ask me about something, so I went. We got to the area where the bathroom and water fountains were, and the smile dropped. Apparently, he had just started as the assistant manager 2 days before and had been waiting to talk to me. The exact wording is lost to time, but apparently he thought I was someone named Amber who worked there, and since I was late again, as well as advising a customer against the purchase, he was going to have to let me go. Apparently, he missed the "I don't work here" part. I explained I didn't work there, and as I was doing this, he interrupted me to ask why I wasn't wearing my name tag, which you would need back. And he reached down and grabbed my tag, which was attached to an elastic clip. He pulled, I dropped the DVD set, crack, and out came my tag, keycard, and wallet. So I cursed loudly because he is standing there holding a tag that clearly does not say Amber and is bleeding all over. He apparently cut himself when the clip snapped to him, at which point he said something about me scratching him with my nails, of which I didn't have because of work, plus I never touched the guy, and walks through the doors still holding my tag and keycard. I scoop up my wallet and went after him. He snatched a phone off the wall and is calling the police. So I'm yelling at this point, "Dude, give me my effing tag back!" The idiot assistant manager said, "I was just assaulted." Of course I freak. 911 operator probably thought he was being assaulted by the way I was yelling. Finally, I calmed down and just stand there with my arms crossed, refusing to move, with him holding my tag over his head like I am 5 years old. Police show up and we both tell our stories. The older cop pulls him off to the side, then me. Finally, both the cops, him, and I are all standing there. His story is that it seems I was trying to steal the DVDs and I had assaulted him when he tried to stop me. The older cop simply asked him, "Why are you holding your tag?" The assistant manager looked down at his hand, still bloody, and he starts stammering that he took it so I couldn't leave. Manager has now shown up and I tell my story again. He looked like he had swallowed a bug. Cop asked about the employee Amber. Sure enough, she was already on the floor. It seems the fact that I knew Amber had a habit of being a few minutes late convinced both the cops and the manager. I did press charges. If he had done that stupid crap and then had just apologized, it would have been one thing. But he was clearly feeling big in the britches, and when he made a mistake, decided to lie. It always blows my mind how the entitled parents or whatever it is that we're reading about, it always blows my mind how they call the police and then lie about what happened, as if it's impossible to set the record straight. That's so stupid. Because you know what? You just guaranteed yourself some trouble for lying to the police. And the police's annoyance for their time being wasted, as well as the wrath of the person they called the cops on and lied about. Idiots! Then again, maybe I'm stupid for expecting them to think things through? I don't know. This story's called, "I Don't Work Here, But My Doppelganger Does." Usually, I just read the stories, but while sorting some clothes, I remembered a story from a few years back. I'm a regular shopper at insert store chain, and my closet is full of clothes from there. I normally wear basic black and a sweater or something on top. So one fateful day, I am on vacation in another city far from home, and got to store to buy some new tops. Here's the cast. There's me, store manager, and my doppelganger. Doppelganger, what are you doing? Get back to the men's section and stock up those pants. I continue looking. Store manager grabs my shoulder to turn me around. Are you ignoring me? What's with that attitude? Back to the men's section and stock up those pants! I, being the extremely emotional and sensitive person I am, stare back in shock and start crying. What? Oh, don't you start crying, that doesn't work on me! I'm trying to hold back the tears and speak. But I'm not doppelganger, I don't work. At this point, people are looking and whispering. Of course, yeah, stop pulling this crap on me and get to work. Enter doppelganger. Store manager, I'm done with the rest. What are you doing? Doppelganger looks at store manager, looks at me, I look at doppelganger. Store manager looks from me to doppelganger to me. Not only did doppelganger and me look very similar, we could have been twins. Except I have birthmarks on my face and she didn't. But we also coincidentally wore the same set of clothes, except the shoes. Store manager unhanded me and apologized. Apparently, doppelganger started working there not long ago, so she didn't recognize the small differences. I calmed down a bit and just left. Later at the food corner of the mall that the store was in, I met doppelganger again. She apologized again for store manager's behavior and told me people already complained about her and that she wasn't really popular around the other employees either. We exchanged contact information and saw each other a few times after, but sadly, we drifted apart. But yeah, that wraps up the story of how I had my very first I don't work here story and found my doppelganger. Thanks for listening. Bye. But wait, there's more from me. Okay, is it just me or did the Redditor here get shafted? Because, you know what? A manager grabbed and screamed at a customer. Okay, she could get free crap for life or something. I'm sure she could have sued for emotional damages or something. I don't know, assault? But clearly the Redditor here is not one to extort people, but still, that's a pretty interesting story. Like the number of coincidences here? Amazing. This story is called, I'm Not From Here, Karen. This is a long one. So I was 16 at the time I met Karen. I am from down south and I have the accent. I ride horses and go to competitions, so I'm in Illinois. The place was a small town with one main grocery store, it seemed. The show was pretty big and I could drive, and I brought my close friend since I was just picking something up quickly for lunchtime and getting waters or something like that since we ran out. My barn tends to feed many of the neighbors at the show, so I go in the store alone. I am very sweaty since I had been moving hay bales and whatnot around and wearing a solid gray t-shirt, plain baseball cap, belt, jeans, and cowboy boots with spurs, the jingly kind. They were not big, but made noise. The store's uniform was, guess what? A button-down shirt that was gray with a gold nameplate. I was wandering around, kinda clueless as to where I could find drinks, so I just walked down the aisle quickly. Then she appeared in front of me. Oh, finally, a gosh darn employee! I turn around to look behind me, and I see a cashier and think nothing of it and continue on my business. Now, as a good, polite Southern belle, I dipped my hat to her, acknowledging her existence as I walk around her after seeing I'm not at the drinks. Where the hell do you think you're going? I was startled by being shouted at for no reason. I'm sorry, ma'am, I think you have the wrong person. My accent must have been obvious for her to know I'm not a local. Oh, since you are a no good stupid southern hick that just moved here and started working a minimum wage job to pay for sweet tea since your brain is so watered down by family fun. Side note from Captain Zach. Family fun is not the word she used. I was just, paraphrasing. At that point, I am slack-jawed. If you don't know, Southerners can be very well-mannered and polite. But if you insult them, you have been marked for death. I will say this once, ma'am. I do not work here. I'm quite bellicose with you at the moment, so I shall leave before things escalate. What the frick tack made up word did you just say? I turn to walk away, and then she grabs my wrist to pull me around. Now, working with animals that are easily 5 times your weight means you get ripped. I yanked my wrist free and pulled my shoulders back, and standing straight, I am taller than her. Go the flippity-doo-dah on, lady. I am giving you a warning. Don't push it or I will chuck you like a sack of feed. I left to get the drinks, and I thought she got the message. My friend, who was a year and a half younger, but I only came to his shoulder height, and was a big-time wrestler and football player and a horse rider, so he was pure muscle. He came in because I was taking so long, and we were in checkout. There she is, that no good stupid bench. She pointed at me, and you could see the confusion on the management's face. I went ape feces. Who in the gosh darn hell thinks just because someone has a southern accent is stupid? I will have you know, you insufferable human being, I am a straight-A student with AP classes and a member representative for my school in my state. You have the audacity to come in here and demand— Friend set his hand on my shoulder to get me to simmer down.
What seems to be the problem? I think there has been a mistake.
No, she assaulted me and threatened me. Sir, I only pulled my arm away from her grasp, and I did threaten her after she came after me.
Okay, one moment. I will check the security footage and we will settle this.
So we all go to the back room, and while manager is checking the footage, Karen starts to insult me once more, saying things along the lines of, "I will show you, you dumb floozy." I am very upset, and friend is struggling to stay quiet. I can see it in his face. Finally, Karen says, "Probably when your mother was getting knocked up by her brother, he loved her so hard he knocked a few screws loose in your head." Friend bust open the door of the room with manager.
Please, for the love of all that is holy, get her out of here.
He grabbed Karen and slung her in with manager.
I'll whoop her hiney if I hear one more crappy thing about my girl.
I was surprised at that statement, and that was the best thing about the trip.
Oh, okay, I am so sorry, but I owe you an apology.
Thank you.
Not you.
I just want to get the drinks and get back on my horse, please.
You can have it at half price. I am so sorry for this inconvenience.
Not at all, sir. I happily went on my merry way with my drinks and friend while Karen was screaming at the manager about everything. I guess you could say our Redditor was well suited for this encounter, given that she's used to dealing with cows. This story's called Today I Fudged Up by Teaching My Daughter How to Say Mom. Happened yesterday, don't shoot. First, you need 2 points of reference for background. I'll try to make this short. My daughter is 3, going to be 4 in January, and she is in a special needs preschool for kids like her. She's autistic. There is a wide range of kids on the spectrum in this class, and in some ways, she's more high-functioning. In some ways, she isn't. For instance, she's pretty social for an autistic kid. No, she doesn't look people in the eye when she doesn't know them well. No, she doesn't pick up on most social cues, other than knowing to say please when she wants something, and thank you when she gets it. But she's interactive with people when she warms up to them eventually, which is pretty good. She's far less advanced in speech. Most of the words or sounds she makes are just looped repeatings of her version of what she has heard others say, or flat out some mumbled language she made up herself. She makes very few connections between vocal language and intent, only truly understanding what hi, bye, please, thank you means. That's it. This makes communication difficult for her, and it's her biggest area she struggles with. Anyway, she doesn't call her father and I anything. Like I said, only knows 4 words consistently. She doesn't have names for anyone. You can tell she knows someone by how she interacts with them, but homegirl will never point at her dad in reference to anything or even call him by a name. She'll just smack him if she wants his attention. Yeah, she's sweet, which also brings me to my second point. She is very sweet, but she is a very rough child. Understandable, I was a rough kid when I was younger too. But I know what rough and gentle mean. I knew if I hurt someone or broke something, I understood what that meant and how it happened. She does not. At all. She knows nothing of her strength, and this kid has legitimately knocked me out before. Another tale for another day. She goes to school in the afternoons, and yesterday morning we were getting her ready and watching some music videos when my darling child decides she wants some juice. She takes her cup to her dad and smacks him to get his attention, and he tells her, "Go ask your mom," and points to me. A practice we use regularly, hoping she'll pick up on the correlation of words. And then she says it. "Mom!" Perfectly even, loud and proud while looking directly at me. It sounds like music to my ears. A name I've been waiting to be called since I almost died giving birth to the little spawn. And I was so overjoyed. "Yay!" I exclaimed. "I am Mom!" Well, she can tell when she's done something good, even if she doesn't know exactly what it was. And this sends her excitedly into a loop. Common for young autistic kids, and older ones, I'm not sure, sorry. Sometimes they get stuck on words or phrases. She's done it often before, and this time was no different. "Mom! Mom! 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 Mom!" I get up to get her juice. "Mom! Mom! Mom! Mom!" I hand her the juice. She takes a swig and goes right back to repeating. crawls into my lap and I'm happily smiling away as my child practices my newfound name.
Well, you've got her looping.
My husband says to me from across the room. She looks at him and exclaims yet again, "Mom!"
No, I'm Dad,
he says, but she's still stuck on a loop. My heart sinks. She only knows the word mom, right? No correlation with me. So I take her hands and place them on either side of my face and say, "No, this is mom. Mom!" A desperate attempt, I'm not proud of it. Her smile gets really wide and she picks up her hands and smacks them back down in the same spot. Hard. "Mom!" Her looping eventually slows down as the excitement of getting ready to go to preschool draws near. We send her off, still throwing out a "Mom" here or there, but pretty calm. 2 hours later, I get a phone call from the school. Apparently, my precious little womb nugget, bless her heart, was running around school, smacking everyone in the face and calling them mom. I was told she didn't seem to be doing it maliciously. She never is. She's usually only rough on accident. But that they were having issues getting her to stop and asked what we did at home to help her focus her brain. I gave the teacher a few tips on redirection and hung up mortified. Oh no, you see, kids are really, they're a lot of work. However, special needs children I can imagine being multiple times the workload. Getting your average child to stop doing something that they really like doing is quite the monumental task. But I can only imagine the number of headaches this poor mom is gonna get. Alright guys, here we have a riveting tale called "Today I Freckled Up by Telling Someone He Had Something on His Trailer Dragging." Happened this morning, about 5 hours ago. I was on my way to work, following a guy towing a trailer behind him. I noticed some sparks coming from somewhere beneath the trailer. Normally, I wouldn't think twice about it, but I was having an especially good morning and wanted to help. Plus, he was hauling a decent-sized excavator and didn't want something to happen to it, because it looked pretty new. We pull up to a stoplight, and I hop out of my truck to run up to him and let him know. Apparently, he didn't see me because when I said, "Excuse me," his window was open, he turned and punched me in the jaw. Being one who didn't want to escalate the situation, I let him know about the trailer and proceeded to apologize for scaring him. As I turned around to go back to my truck, the light turned green. The way this intersection is, there were the lights we were waiting at and another light 50 feet back down the road to tell incoming traffic what the light is, as it's somewhat of a blind curve. As I'm walking back to my truck, a woman comes around the corner and slams into the back of my truck, pushing it forwards into me. It didn't move very fast, but it hit me hard enough to knock me over and crack a few ribs. She then gets out and yells at me for being stopped at the intersection as I'm laying on the ground in quite a bit of pain. The way she viewed it, I was an 18-year-old kid who got out of my truck to do something stupid. The cops got there and she got cuffed after trying to assault one of the officers. Okay, what? This guy gets socked in the jaw and he apologizes and doesn't wait for anything in return? And then he got hit by a freaking truck? No, he got hit by his own truck. Like, what? What the poon? Like, okay man, I'm sorry. Rough morning. I hope it got better. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.